Welcome back to the Industry Podcast. I'm your host, J-Mo, and today we have an incredible guest joining us. Meet David L. Rivera, a multidisciplinary filmmaker who's been making waves in the industry as a director, cinematographer, and digital content creator. Born and raised in Los Angeles, David has an impressive portfolio that spans music videos, episodic documentaries, fashion shoots, action sports, and short films. Truly, I met this man literally a few weeks ago in Silver Lake at an amazing bar with his daughter, his puppy girl. And what caught my attention was that he was just so easy and open and willing to chat with strangers, honestly. But today, David's journey goes far beyond just one project. He's built a rich network of film professionals and owns an impressive arsenal of high-end cinema equipment that allows him to create intimate one-person shoots to full-service productions. Now today, we're going to give a deep dive into his creative process, discuss the challenges of being a filmmaker in today's competitive landscape with the strikes and people moving out of state, interstate, all the things, and explore his insights of networking, staying comfortable with being uncomfortable, and why sometimes getting the job is the job. So grab your headphones, your AirPods, settle in, and let's welcome David L. Rivera to the show.
Speaking of beginning, where do you begin? Where did you find, as a kid, finding this talent, this skill to sharpen into becoming a filmmaker? Take me through your childhood and how you found this spark of filmmaking, of content creation.
Yeah, well, that's an easy answer. It's going to go back to my dad. Me and my dad are really close. My dad's a big movie buff, right? So he was the one who introduced me to what movies were. And a lot of people have asked me this question before in the past, and I love sharing it because me and my dad are close to this day. We're like buds, basically. But it really all started my love for movies and filmmaking in the early 90s. I was maybe 5 years old. My dad works in construction. He still does. He's an architect now. But anyway, so he had this big old minivan with a sliding door on the side.
Oh, yeah.
And old-fashioned, almost like a Scooby-Doo type of van, but it was an old 80s model Toyota van. Anyway, so in the early 90s growing up here in LA, drive-in movies were still pretty prevalent. They're really popular. You could just go to a drive-in and watch a movie, a new release. So what my dad and I would sometimes do, we'd go watch Free Willy or Jurassic Park or whatever in his work van. But what made those memories so special and so unique is that we'd go to the drive-in, but my dad would park the van. Normally everyone who's there would park their vehicles perpendicular to the screen, like a T shape, right? Everyone's all facing forward in the car. But what my dad would do, we'd park slightly further away, and he'd park his van sideways, parallel to the screen. And then we would remove the middle seat completely out of the van, and it would just be a flat surface, the inside of the van was an empty flat surface. We'd slide open the door, take out the middle seat, lay down some blankets and pizzas and pillows, and me and my dad would have a picnic inside of his van watching Jurassic Park on a drive-in. I'm 5 years old. Yeah. And
that is the movie experience.
Yeah. So we'd have this pizza that I wasn't quite sure was half cardboard, half cheese, some popcorn.
Of course.
Some some 90s candies, some warheads or whatever.
And you were in heaven.
And I was 5 years old with my dad, my hero, who still is, and we're just having this picnic inside of a van, facing this gigantic outdoor screen, watching early 90s classics, Ninja Turtles, Jurassic Park, T2. I remember my dad took me to see T2. We did that little picnic in the van thing. I was only 5 years old when that movie came out, but going home that night, like watching like killer robots from the future, I had like night terrors. It was the first time having night terrors that night. Ironically, 20, 30 years later, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. But that cluster of moments with my dad going to the movies in his old work van, that I mean, if that wasn't going to show me what movie magic was, there wasn't nothing else could have done so. And not just spending time with my dad, this hardworking man from El Salvador, and he's saving the movies in his van and stuff, but I'm also watching dinosaurs and robots and Ninja Turtles. It was the perfect sort of like convergence, a perfect storm of everything a little kid needed to like fall in love with movies.
Yeah.
And now fast forward a good 3 decades later, I'm still doing so, and I'm fortunate to say that I'm able to do it on a full-time basis. I'm not a big megastar yet, but it's one step at a time. But that's the true beginning of the very story. The very beginning of my story is with my dad and going to the drive-in in the early '90s and having forging those amazing, like really one-of-a-kind memories that you can't really do anymore now. Drive-in theaters are all but extinct. Not to mention, modern day cinema isn't the way it was in the early '90s. But yeah, so all that combined is what just I had like stars in my eyes watching those movies as a little kid. So, and that little kid has he still has a little place in my heart after all this time. So, yeah, there you go.
Absolutely. What's that name?
My dad's name is also David.
Are you the first junior?
I mean, technically, I guess I am a junior, but there is no junior on my birth certificate, and no one's ever called me a junior. But technically, I guess I am. In fact, my dad and I both have the first name, middle name, and last name, so we're like exact copies of each other.
Listen, God forbid your identity gets stolen.
Yeah.
Well,
Who's who?
also, I'm sure there's multiple other divinity that has.
Yeah, there's a bunch. There's a bunch, but only two of us have our middle name is Leonidas. And
Leonidas?
that's me and my dad's middle name. Yeah, it's pretty wild. We have an ancient Greek warrior name for a middle name.
Yeah.
And technically,
a Ninja Turtle.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but yeah, those memories take me back. Sharing this like story, just makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside to look back at my dad, who was like, I don't know, 32 at the time. I was like 5. It was just great, eating pizza with my old man and like bonding over robots and aliens at the drive-in. Shitty audio quality. It was a little speaker box you would clip onto the window, so it sounded like ass. And it didn't look particularly good either because we're far away. You're outdoors in the city. There's a lot of ambient light, cars with their lights on, people doing shit, walking around. Not really a great like movie going experience per se if you're a purist, but none of that mattered to me as a 5-year-old. I thought it was like the coolest party in the world.
Now, would you consider yourself now a purist now that you're a filmmaker?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I like to go. Going to the movies is a big hobby of mine. Watching movies at home is a big hobby of mine. I've even put together, like here at my place, I've got like a little home theater set up. I've like a big giant TV with surround sound that's set like strategically placed. I do like to make popcorn, when I put a movie on. I'm a big like physical media collector too. So I've got like a little shelf of like a few hundred Blu-ray discs of all my favorite movies across my life. So when I watch a movie, typically I'm not really scrolling through Netflix or HBO. I'm like scrolling through my little like mini Blockbuster that I've got, with like maybe a good 200 discs. My personal little library. Yeah, it's like 200 discs, and it's my little library. So if I'm in the mood to take a stroll down memory lane, I'll pop in, The Matrix, or I'll pop in Independence Day or whatever. And I've got some more modern movies too. I'm big on anime, some of the more modern ones too. But yeah, so I'm a purist all the way down to what I'm watching is a physical disc. It's not streaming. And
That's how you do it.
yeah, for sure.
Let's go back to those days.
Yeah, so that's our grip, right? I grew up watching VHSs and collecting DVDs, and I've gone back and like put together my own personal library, in Blu-ray form. So whenever I want to watch like a movie from the 90s or the 2000s or whatever it is, and in the best quality possible, I have access to that. So yeah, I guess I would say I'm a purist, because typically purists are like physical media collectors, and I go to the movies often. I go to the movies by myself. It's like it's a hobby of mine.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, I go to the movies myself all the time, once a week even. But
You have to with AMC stuff.
yeah, that's what I have. I've got AMC stuff.
A-list. You gotta
Yeah.
go 3 times a week.
Well, they let you do 4 now, but yeah, which is too much for me. I can't go to the movies that
That's too
often.
much.
But I do have A-list. I've had A-list for like a good, I don't know, year, let's say. So I go to the movies for free, and I live walking distance from an AMC. It's right in my neighborhood. So yeah, I'm definitely like big on the movie going experience at a theater or at home. I do get slightly annoyed if I'm with like a friend over or like my girl and she's like asking me questions about the
You're like-
movie. But at home, I don't mind. I'll pause and I'll explain or whatever. I'm not, I'm
I
not,
love that.
I'm not so hardcore about it that I can't enjoy someone's company when we're watching a movie together and there's a cool action scene or a cool dialogue scene. I want to rewind it. So I'm flexible. I'm not like a home theater Nazi. But when I'm home alone,
Right.
yeah, when I'm home alone, I'll mix some popcorn, a nice drink, and I'll like set the mood and watch something awesome that I love. So yeah,
The move. 'Cause that's what and that's I think those people that have those questions, that's their way of, I'm sure, just getting into it and wanting to get up to speed where you're at.
yeah.
What would you say is a film that it's on your list, it's probably a great film that everyone to watch, but you haven't seen it yet?
Oh, like a popular movie that everyone's watched except for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, believe it or not, I've actually never seen Jaws. Yeah. I don't know. To this day, I've never seen it. I mean, I
That's
know.
director criminal right there.
Yeah, I know what happens all throughout the movie. I've seen it like little chunks on TV here and there. You know, the plot is sort of part of pop culture these days.
Right.
Everyone knows that the shark gets blown up at the end with a tank in his mouth or whatever. But sitting down and watching it all the way through from beginning to end, that I've never done that in my entire life, which is crazy. Oh, that's not the only one. I can give you 3. Jaws,
Yeah.
I've never seen it, which is crazy. I've also never seen The Godfather movies with an S. So let's just count that as one.
We have to go.
I'll see you
That's
later.
insane.
Yeah, I've never seen any of the 3 Godfathers. So let's just say count that as one saga, Jaws, and then what's another one? I don't know what I haven't seen that's big. I guess maybe like some like 90s Al Pacino movies. I was a little kid in the 90s, so I need to go back and kind of rewatch those movies that I wasn't really allowed to watch, like A Few Good Men, shit like that. But
Okay.
off the top of my head, Jaws is like a big one that I have yet to see even to this day.
That is cinematic history.
Yeah, which
That's
is
where
crazy.
all the USC students are like, watch Jaws, watch The Godfather, watch E.T.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't even watch Star Wars all the way through the original ones up until like during pandemic.
That's when everyone had the time.
Yeah, I had a lot of time, and I had never seen them all the way through ever. So I was like, well, I guess I'm home for the next like 5 months doing nothing. So let's just watch these. Same thing with
Right.
with the Scream movies. I had never seen Scream, and I was a little kid when they were coming out. They're rated R, so I definitely couldn't see them. And over time, they just like went under the radar. So during pandemic, I caught up on all of Screams, Star Wars, but Jaws continues to elude me. But I'm going to correct that next time we speak.
It's gonna. Oh, okay.
We'll see.
I'll test you. I like that. I want to hear your immediate young virgin thoughts.
Yeah. So
Now, speaking of the cinematic history, the breadth of film that doesn't go that far back, but still it goes back there. Would you consider yourself to be, how much of your cinematic toolkit is self-taught versus, and I guess self-taught meaning like run and gun, like let's just figure it out, versus textbook, film school, downloading?
I would say a good like 80% self-taught, 20% school. I did go to film school. I didn't go to prestigious film school. I went to LA City College, not too far from where you and I met,
Yeah.
in Silver Lake, which is East Hollywood. So I went to LA City College, in which I appropriately, my dad graduated there too, like in the 70s. And so then I graduated from there as well, with my degree in film production. So it was only a 2-year course, and it was in the 2000s. So we were shooting on tape, and which is cool. I loved it. So a lot of what I learned still carries over to this day, like composing a shot, um, organization, logistics, stuff like that. But also a lot of what I learned back then is also totally out of date. So
Mm.
like shooting on tape, that's completely out of date. Plugging in your camera and then like off having your computer like absorb the footage in real time, that's totally out of date. So a lot of what I've learned and implement to this day is self-taught, both because I didn't want to wait to be taught how to do it. I was excited to get started right away, but also out of necessity, right? I'm not in film school anymore, but I need to continue to learn and stay on top of tech trends. So even as of right now in 2025, I continue to be self-taught, as I would imagine probably all working professionals are who have finished school 10, 15 years ago. But so yeah, I do have like technically a formal education, but a lot of that is out of date now since it's so old, except for the things that are universal that carry over forever. But yeah, a good amount of what I've learned even when I was in school is self-taught, continues to be self-taught. I bought my first little camcorder like in 2010 or so. Started shooting little like BMX and skateboard videos and whatever else people would let me shoot for fun. I would edit it for fun. Um, Editing digitally is also pretty much self-taught. So yeah, I've been pretty self-taught for really since day one, with a little boost from school. But even to this day, yeah, I'm continuing to learn. It behooves me to stay on top of trends and continuing to teach myself. Partner up with friends, talk with my buddies, my creative partners, my colleagues, like how they're doing. Have they purchased anything new? Have they encountered anything that like stumps them? And of course, now with AI on the horizon,
Talk about it.
yeah, I definitely have to continue learning even more so. So it never ends. There's always something new to learn, including big things like AI, which is a little bit scary. But yeah, so I would say good 80% self-taught and maybe 20% school training.
Mm. Speaking on let's touch on AI.
Yeah.
Where do you see AI and filmmaking, directing having a marriage? Where do you see it going forward in the next 5, 10 years? What do you see it evolving into?
Yeah,
Is it
I
a
mean,
marriage, or does it kind of swallow the other?
yeah, I'm a glass half full kind of guy, right? I'm very optimistic in general. So I'd like to think that the advent of AI tech will be a tool. A lot of my filmmaker colleagues have framed the entire situation as like a tool that we can use versus like a threat.
Right.
So it's a nice way to look at it, and I hope they're right, and I hope it goes down that way. But it's hard to fully admit and say, "Oh, I'm not threatened by this whatsoever," when someone can enter in a prompt now and spit out a near photorealistic and now like sono realistic. Their voices are perfectly real now, so that does it is a little scary for sure, but I'm trying to approach it in a way where it's a new piece of tech which I can use to further my storytelling, further my knowledge, further my living, my livelihood.
Right.
And technically speaking, I even use AI even right now to a small extent. Like, for example, like just earlier today, I was doing some Photoshop work, and some of the photos needed a little extra work that I couldn't quite do, or I knew would take forever, removing blemishes, smoothing out some skin tones, whatever, or like there's a weird glint in the camera, whatever. So I would use an AI tool to scan the photo, and the AI would correct little things that I couldn't correct or could do, but it would take all half a day. There's or another example of me using AI even right now a few months ago. I shot like some actors' self-tapes, but the like over the course of that day, the audio started to go bad, and the lav wasn't picking up their voices, but the camera, the little onboard mic, still was not very good quality, and you're far away. So that weekend, I used an AI tool to scan the low quality audio that was captured from far away, and basically had AI rebuild their voices from scratch, and it was uh, like pretty acceptable.
Wow.
It was impressive the quality that you got, which otherwise I would not have been able to achieve if it wasn't for an AI tool, right? If I didn't have that AI tool, then the audio would have been stuck at crappy, far away sounding audio. But thanks to AI, I was able to rebuild that audio, deliver the material to the actors in at least an acceptable like form. And so it saved my ass. So if this was like 6, 7 years ago, I would have been screwed, and those actors or the talent or whatever client would have been left with like subpar material. So AI full blown saved my ass. So as of now, I'm looking at it as a tool. It is a tool that I've used. It's even saved me. But also part of me, when I start seeing some of these like photorealistic videos, it is a little scary. I don't want to become obsolete. So I'm trying to apply myself and position myself in such a way where I can continue to use it as a tool, continue to use it to strengthen my position, and so I become indispensable versus obsolete. But it's really really early. It's the wild wild west right now, so I'm hoping to get on top of it before I get steamrolled over it. But I'm also kind of old school at the same time. I like analog things. Like I just said, like I mentioned earlier, I collect physical media. I love retro shit. So part of me is like, no, I don't want to mess with that. That's like new TikTok crap. Uh, you
No.
know, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I could think that way. I could be like old man millennial and then get left in
Good
the
luck. We're gonna
dust.
behind.
And get left in the dust. So yeah, that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to approach it with an open mind, use it as a tool as I already did in the past recently, and it saved my butt. And so yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how things develop over the next, not even 5 to 10 years, honestly, man. Really more in the next like 2 to 3. By the time the Olympics rolls around, which is only 3 years away, man, I hope I can still give you the same answer I'm giving you right now, where I'm optimistic, and I want to like stay on top of the trend. But we'll see. We'll see.
Wow. We'll see.
Yeah.
Keep learning, like you said, filmmaking, your craft. It's it's an ever learning craft. And I think you're right. I think it will evolve. It will turn into a tool that's supported like the tools that you use right now.
Yeah.
Your editing, your post production, your pre-production, and it'll ease the workflow. Speaking of workflow, what are some misconceptions with being a director? There's might be some young students that are watching this and they want to be directors, filmmakers in the industry. What are some, you might love what you do 80% of the time. What's that 20% that it it's involved, but most kids might, or even most adults might overlook or might not know that that's there?
Yeah, easy answer. I got the answer ready to go. It's a lot of the tedious red tape, right? So I remember growing up, wanted to be a director because I thought it was magical, and it still is. But it's also, as a director, you're still an employee, right? You might be in charge of the set. You might be calling the shots, literally. But unless you're also like a studio exec that's directing, or you're like a high level producer that's also directing, if you're just a director for hire, like I am, you're an employee. So you're at the mercy of a whole committee of other people who can veto you, like in the blink of an eye, can veto all your decisions. If you fire you, hire you, replace you. Um, So just because you've got that director title, kind of almost sometimes doesn't mean anything. So because you can get fired and replaced in the blink of an eye. And so it is awesome when you're given creative control, when you're given responsibility, when you're given trust, right? If you like been grinding for years, and a lot of clients and brands and agencies and creatives and producers have seen your body of work. They've seen what you're capable of, and they've seen the results that your work brings. Then yeah, being a director is awesome. I mean, it's awesome, period. But underneath that, there is still a lot of red tape, right? There's a lot of bureaucracy. That's a good word. A lot of office politics. Like you're at the mercy of just getting fired for almost any little thing. It's crazy. I mean, I've got I this book that I read called or that I this book that I've read called The 30-Second Storyteller. Um, I'll keep it short, but it detailed a horror story of like how easy it is for a director, even with a title like that, can get replaced in the blink of an eye. So basically, the scenario that the author described was that this director was on set on like a six-figure budget beer commercial, and so they're shooting, beer bottles come in all shapes and sizes and colors. And so this director had a lot of experience shooting beverages and beers, which is its own little subsector of directing. Beverages and food is separate from like directing animals, babies, celebrities, comedy, like they all break down, and each director specializes in these like subcategories. Well, one of them is food and beverage, and there's even another subcategory within that, which is like types of beverage, whether it's a soda or a beer. Anyway, this director's on set. He's getting ready to set up a shot, and the brand is Rolling Rock, and so their bottle of beer is green, and it's green to help like filtrate sunlight, so the beer stays nice and it doesn't get like fermented or spoiled. So it's tinted green for that reason. One of the clients on behalf of Rolling Rock, who has never even met the director before in their lives, approaches the director on set, asks him, "Hey, have you ever shot or directed a beer commercial using a green colored bottle before?" And they're just like, "No, I typically do clear or brown or opaque. It's like solid. So I've never done green before, but we'll take care of it. We're gonna light it. We're gonna shoot it." The Rolling Rock or beer person walked away, spoke to the agency, and the director got fired right there on the spot because he had never directed a commercial with a green tinted glass bottle, only brown or whatever else. And so the beer brand didn't want to risk giving this shoot to this director, and they replaced him that afternoon. So they went on an extended lunch, and a new director rolled in that afternoon who had directed something with a green tinted glass bottle. And so he lost the job right there on the spot because he's only shot brown colored bottles, not green ones. My mind was blown, right? And so this is on a six-figure budget commercial shoot, and he got let go like if he was a PA. And so yeah, there's definitely a dark bureaucratic side to filmmaking in general, whether you're a PA all the way to the director, and you don't really learn that growing up watching movies. You don't learn that really for the most part in film school, or at least I didn't. You don't really learn how cutthroat it can be. How you learn through osmosis that it's competitive, but so is everything. You want to get a job at Costco. Yeah, you want to get a job at Costco. That's competitive, but
Yes.
Directors, you're at the mercy of a lot of people that have a lot of money with a lot of their reputation and a lot at stake. So you're not immune, even if you're a director, unless you're like Christopher Nolan or something,
Sure.
or Fincher. But for the most part, you're still an employee, just like everybody else. You get to be creative and call the shots and stuff, but the dark side is that you can get easily vetoed anytime, fired at a moment's notice, and that's even if you get selected to direct to begin with, which is likely not to happen.
Always a battle.
So also directors for the most part, have to kind of create their own opportunities and create their own work. When you go online, let's say you're searching for jobs online, there's a lot of like seeking a sound man or seeking a PA, seeking a makeup artist. There's no one ever really seeking a director. Directors are the ones who are putting those jobs out there looking for a makeup artist. So it's an uphill battle. We can easily be vetoed, replaced, fired, and the hiring pool is almost non-existent unless you're in someone's back pocket. So yeah, it's definitely a little bit discouraging sometimes. But like I said earlier, I'm a glass half full kind of person. I've built a reputation on delivering results, but it continues to be an uphill battle for me to this day and will continue to be so for a while, for some time to come. But I have more than enough passion left over in me that I'm ready to take on this fight. I have been. And so as long as I stay a little bit ahead of the curve, I'll be okay.
You're in the water already, David. You're in the water.
But yeah, it's definitely a big like dark side to that role that no one really teaches you. No one really teaches you how cutthroat it is. Everyone's trying to climb to the top using someone else as a ladder to get there.
Right.
So, and you're just part of that pile. You know, you're still an employee. You're an employee at the end of the day. So,
But I like what you said.
yeah. I wish I would, you know, I didn't have like a directing mentor growing up. And,
Mentor.
you know, like if you go to USC, for example, you are assigned a real working producer who's like 25 years older than you are as a student, and they're like your one-on-one mentor. It's one of the big benefits of going to USC. I didn't go there, so I didn't have access to like a Hollywood pro to mentor me fresh out of school, right? I got my little diploma, and I'm like, well, off to the races you go, little man. And so I've had to figure it out. But yeah, having a mentor would have been great. It would still be great. But yeah, that is the dark side of filmmaking that you have to learn one way or another, mentor or no.
That's good. That's good. I mean, I'm happy you touched about all the colors of the dark side because that is real. But I also like that you mirrored it with every industry is competitive. If you want to be a doctor, if you want to work at Costco,
Yeah.
everyone is knowledgeable. Everyone's gone to college. Everyone is looking for a job, a dream job, a passion project. And even though you might feel discouraged of like, I want to quit being a director. I'm gonna go be a pediatrician or a pilot or whatever.
Yeah.
You might come up with some resistance and competition over there as well.
Doesn't matter where you
You might
go.
as well just go for
That's exactly
what
right.
you love. And like, if you're gonna sacrifice for your dream versus going up a ladder or a staircase that you don't even want in the first
Yeah, I mean, I think Jim Carrey said it best. I think Jim Carrey, like, he spoke at like a college graduation like 10 years ago, and he talked about his dad was an accountant like all throughout the 60s and 70s and 80s.
He was a funny man.
Yeah, so his dad was a corporate accountant, and he got fired. Like 35 years working for like an accounting firm. Jim Carrey's dad got fired. And then Jim Carrey's dad was like just like old and depressed and had been working for the man for 30 years. And so Jim Carrey, the point he was trying to make, and he said to the students, to the graduating body, he was like, look, my dad got fired after 40 years of an accountant. I'm paraphrasing. So if you can get fired doing something you hate, you might as well take a chance on doing something you love. And it's going to be competitive regardless, right? Whether I want to be a cashier at Costco, I've got to compete against other people who want that job, or I got to compete against other directors, agencies, clients, whatever. So there's no escaping that it's going to be competitive, and there's no escaping that you're going to be an employee. Because I don't want to be, I'm not really trying to be like a studio executive where
Right.
I'm nearly untouchable, but I'm just at a desk all day, I guess. So you can't escape the competition. So you might as well just go for what you love. Just like Jim Carrey said it, really wise words.
I love that. And everyone can take that no matter what industry you're wanting to dive into. And that calms even my spirit as I continue to pursue this podcast, whether it be acting, being an agent, manager.
Yeah.
You know, it all it's like you got the DMV. All the lines are full. There's people in all the lines.
Yeah, yeah. There's no escaping it. So you might as well accept that for the reality that it is. You're at the DMV and all the lines are full, and they're going to be like that forever.
Forever.
So there's really no point in complaining about how much the DMV sucks. You know it sucks going there.
It's gonna suck.
So yeah,
But you gotta go there, and it's like when you're at Disneyland, and you're like, oh, 2 hour line? Okay. And you think of like the people that in society have more money, connections, mentors, they
Sure.
can pay for a fast pass.
yeah,
You
sure.
use the fast pass, and you're like, wait, there's a line here too?
Yeah.
You guys also have mentors?
Yeah, dude.
And Nepo babies or money, and you're like, what?
Yeah, there's really no such thing as like, I mean, unless you're extremely privileged, sure, but there's
If you're extremely privileged, you don't even have a passion. I don't know.
yeah,
It's like
there you go. I think that can be
nobody
argued.
in the line.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some merit to that. Like if you're like born a millionaire, I doubt you have someone would have
You're not
like,
at the DMV.
yeah, I would doubt you would have like the drive or the fire in you to like surpass challenges to pursue what you love if it's just given to you,
Right.
you know. So yeah, I wouldn't want that extreme either. Where it's just given to you. I like earning what I have, even if it takes my whole lifetime. But to circle things back around, yeah, that's sort of what I wish I would have been taught by a mentor or at school. The dark side of like of filmmaking, especially a leadership role like directing, you're still an employee like everyone else, and like an employee, you can get replaced and fired and vetoed just as easily as anybody else. So, and also, no one's exactly hiring directors left and right. You have to make those opportunities yourself. You want to pay the rent as a director? Get to it, you know? So, it is a little scary. And, you know, you have to be on the grind or on the ball at all times. Otherwise, yeah, rent doesn't get paid and the fridge stays empty. And so, yeah,
And I know we have expensive taste.
yeah. No, I'm a man of simple taste, but I do like to live comfortably. So, but yeah,
Absolutely.
it's definitely a little scary for sure. But what else am I gonna do? You know, go to Costco, I guess.
Going to Costco, you still get fired. If you're gonna be stocking toilet paper, like I could have just stayed sacrificing what I wanted to sacrifice to get what I wanted.
Yeah. So,
I love that. I have a fast questionnaire for you.
yeah, a little lightning round.
Yeah, lightning round.
All right, let's do it.
Do you know James Lipton?
Yeah, was he like an interview host guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
from like the
So James
90s.
Lipton, he was the dean of Pace University, and he was at the dean of like the theater film actors school at
Okay.
Pace University, and he had a TV show on Bravo called Inside the Actors.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. So you know, and he used to interview all these amazing actors, and he would sit in the chair and he'd a theater of 12 to 30 masters or undergrad acting students. I think the famous one was like Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper. Yeah, I remember that
And
one.
then 10 years later, he's Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
And before James Lipton passed, he interviewed Bradley Cooper. One of his students is sitting in the chair next to him.
Very cool.
So this questionnaire comes straight from James Lipton.
All right, let's
And I
do
wanted
it.
to give him credit, and so I kept him up. I lightning round.
All right, let's do it.
So first question is, what is your favorite word?
Thank you.
That's awesome. What's your least favorite word?
No. Or no, I'll modify that. My least favorite word is can't.
Mm. What turns you on?
What turns me on creatively?
Sure. However, we'll use this for PR, whatever you want to use
Yeah.
it for.
Music. Music gets my creative juices going. It improves my mood. If I'm going through a breakup, it's music. If I need creative inspiration for a script or a music video, it's music. If I'm cooking, I'll put the music on. So yeah, I guess music is almost like my first love. So yeah, music is what turns me on the most.
What turns you on?
Um, People that are rude to wait staff.
What sound or noise do you love?
Ocean waves. Yeah, I love the sound of ocean waves, and yeah, just so peaceful. Plus, I was born and raised here in LA, next to the beach. I wasn't raised next to the beach, but we're a coastal city, so just the sound of the ocean is it's really soothing. I love it.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Mm, Babies crying.
Oh, understood. Understood. What is your favorite curse word?
Uh, wow. I guess I have to take a page from Too Short. No, not that one. No. Probably goddamn. Goddamn is pretty flexible.
Yeah,
It's flexible.
good in the mouth.
Yeah, and you can use it for both good things and bad things. Like, God damn, that's some good fried chicken, or God damn, I just got laid off my job or whatever.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's nice and flexible, and it's not too harsh.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
When I was a little kid, I had two that I wanted to attempt. One was really grandiose. They're both grandiose. I wanted to be a race car driver. Yeah. When I was like 10, 11 years old, I was really, really into fast cars. I still am. I used to watch a lot of F1, so I wanted to be an F1 race car driver. And then because my dad was into construction and design, I also wanted to sort of follow in his footsteps and pursue architecture. And I still have like a kind of a leisurely appreciation for architecture and design. I'll sometimes go to downtown and go for a stroll in an old neighborhood, Pasadena, downtown, whatever. I just admire the architecture. So even to this day, I just have an admiration for architecture. But so those are the two. When I was like maybe, I don't know, in middle school, I was sort of dabbling with one of those, but obviously filmmaking won out.
Let's go. What profession would you not like to do under any circumstances?
Man, it would be like dentistry.
Oh,
Yeah, dentistry. Yeah, I wouldn't want to have like be looking down a person's throat all day and like giving them bad news or frightening people. Adults and kids get frightened going to the dentist, and I don't want to be that figure of terror or dread in anyone's life. Separate from the hygiene and looking down someone's mouth, I don't want to be the boogeyman. Be like, oh, I don't want to go see the dentist, and it's me. So probably dentistry.
oh wow, I never heard that. Okay. But you'll be the guy that's like, it's okay, Johnny. We're just gonna take
Yeah.
your tooth out.
Take your tooth out. Yeah. So probably that
And
one.
last question:
Sure.
if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You, what I want to hear God tell me as I arrive at the pearly gates, uh, that He saw that I made the most of my time on Earth, which I think I'm doing. So yeah, that's the main thing. I mean, if He exists, which would be nice, and we're only here for a very short period of time. It's like the blink of an eye. Then it's almost like a duty to make the most of that microscopic um, window of time that we're given. And so, if I'm at the pearly gates, I would love to hear the Creator tell me, like, "Thumbs up, bro. I gave you a little window of time, and you maxed it out." That'd be amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's go. Keep that in mind every single day. There's no reason to have a bad day. We can't afford to have a bad day because we don't live forever.
Yeah.
Every day's got to be pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, even just like waking up in a bed is kind of enough already. I mean, there's
Food
like
in the refrigerator.
I've got food in the fridge. There's like there's like here, especially here in LA with like the homeless crisis. Like my dog lives a more comfortable life than like several thousand human beings on the street. So yeah, I try to like always remind myself like, hey man, I've got a bed, I've got a fridge, I've got electricity on demand, indoor plumbing. So yeah, unless it's some kind of catastrophe you're going through, life is pretty damn good all the time. So yeah, I do consider it like my duty to make the most of it. So I would love to hear the big man upstairs kind of confirm that for me too. Yeah.
David, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, dude, it was a great time. I mean, I got a big smile on my face thanks to you. The little trip down memory lane, some interesting answers. So hopefully it gave you plenty to work with.
Plenty, plenty. Again, David, thank you so much. Just to hear your story, hear what your mindset is in overcoming the path ahead, and just having the reminder of like, I'm here, I'm alive, I'm alive. I get to pursue my dream
Yeah.
in the way that I want, and no one is stopping me.
Yeah, yeah, but yourself and your personal limitations. But yeah, I think that's definitely a good way to summarize kind of who I am in a nutshell.
Awesome. Well, David, again, thank you so much.
Great.
Thank you for your time. I love hearing your story.
I appreciate it, Jonathan. Thanks so much, and have a good night. We'll talk soon now.
You as well. Have a good dinner.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Take care.
See you, David. Bye.
Hey, wait, before you go, I want to say thank you so much for watching this episode. And I just want to say that I hope that you hope that you learned something new. I hope that you gained confidence and clarity in the industry that you want to be a part of, and that you were able to hear someone's story and understand that there's multiple ways to enter into an industry. You don't just have to go to college and then you're in your dream job. There's many ways, many stories, many paths, and life is a non-linear path, as is your dream job or your dream career. So I just want to say thank you so much. I hope you guys learned something new. And also, I wanted to say, if you guys need a podcast recorder AI editor, use this one that I'm using right now. It's called Riverside.fm. I'm using it literally right now, and it helps. Not only does it help me, I don't like editing. If you know me, I don't like editing. I don't want to edit. I don't. And so Riverside.fm uses AI to not only edit short social media reels and short social media clips for TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, LinkedIn, Lemonade, any of them, magic clips inside Riverside.fm uses AI magic to cut all of my long form podcasts into small little clips. Not only does it do that, AI will also edit my entire podcast, which is what I'm doing, because you know I'm not going to be editing nothing. So if you guys are content creators or you want to start your own podcast, use Riverside.fm. I'll put an affiliate link down below so you guys can try it out. There's a trial, 14 days, I believe. And if you guys like it, continue to use it. But that's what I'm going to be using from this point on. And I don't use anything else other than Riverside.fm. So if you guys, like I said, if you guys want to use it, use the description. Use the link in the description down below. All right? Subscribe, like for more content like this. And let me know who else you would guys like me to interview. I would love to hear their story, their upbringing. Use Riverside.fm down below in the description if you guys are interested in what I'm using. I'll add the link down below to the pole light that I'm using right here. And if you guys want to get this look for any of your YouTube channel or in your podcast, anything at all. All right, have a great one, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.